So I'll actually starting with Caroline and moving to Stephen and Arvind. Caroline is with the Union Sanitary District and has been working in the water industry for 4 years. Um, in the district, she wears a few different hats, hopefully some of them hard, and is responsible for activities related to organizational performance, continuous improvement, standard operating procedures, safety and leadership training. You see where this is going? And emergency response coordination. So there's a major kind of education and training role here. She's a board member of Baywork and holds a co-chair position for Cal Warren, which we talked about yesterday with Mickey Rich from Paradise. Who has some experience in that with that organization. Prior to working at USD, she worked 15 plus years in private education and training in a development capacity. So education is going to be a big thing. Stephen Currie has been working in workforce development in the Bay Area for over 20 years. Looks like such a young guy too. No silver on him. His work was focused on regional water and the wastewater industry lately in the past 7 years, and is with East Bay Mud in the Diversity and Inclusion Office, and is also on the Baywork board and providing regional leadership and strategy, candidate development, and outreach co-chair. So, and prior to East Bay Mud, Stephen worked on the other side of the bridge over at SFPUC on the community benefits team. Last but not least, Arvind Akela has 15 years of engineering experience in water and wastewater and is the director of engineering at Silicon Valley Clean Water, responsible for implementing a vast array of wastewater projects, but has keen interest in energy and biosolids. Silicon Valley Clean Water has been for many years a real incubator of interesting technologies and early stage companies. And it's quite a lab as well as obviously a very big treatment center. And also, Arvind, there's this huge construction going on as well. And so, and part to that end, he's been instrumental in bringing some of the innovative technologies and solutions, including aeration, dewatering, food waste, co-digestion, and demand management through energy storage. I believe there's a nice net energy story to tell on that, as well as my favorite topic, we'll be talking a little bit later, co-digestion of fog, fats, oil, and grease. So take it away. My caller and I are going offline.
All right, thanks, Dennis. Really great opportunity and honor to be on this panel. One thing that I would like to add to that introduction is I'm also involved with the California Water Environment Association. Currently, for this year, I am serving as a president-elect, and come April, I will be serving as a president of CWEA. California Water Environment Association is kind of a good organization that ties wastewater industry and to some extent water industry as well. The prime role for CWEA is to provide certification and training to its members, and actually beyond members. That is kind of in the foundation of what we are here to talk about, Silver Tsunami. I would like to add and basically start with what is the Silver Tsunami? I think most of the folks who are talking here or attending today are able to understand it, but just a brief description of what we are talking here today. In our industry, we are facing a significant shortage of workforce. and especially in a wastewater field. Wastewater is, and water and wastewater, I will just keep saying water industry to be, to be kind of generic here. The water industry is facing huge workforce shortage, and it is hitting us right and left. No matter which organization we talk to, either it has already hit, or we're in the middle of it, or we are facing it. It's coming right at there. Whoever invented this term, silver tsunami, is just amazing to me how this term really defines what we're facing here. I work for Silicon Valley Clean Water, and SVCW in short is no exception to this. We are facing the same challenge, and I'm sure that we will hear from Stephen and Karoline in a minute how their organizations are facing this situation. So how we're doing it, I will just start with SVCW, and then we will go to Karoline and then to Stephen. SVCW has a probably majority of its upper management will retire in 5 to 7 years. Now you can imagine the magnitude of silver tsunami at SVCW. Now it is not happening overnight. We knew it, and we knew this for a while, and we will talk about more in detail when we come to the next stage of this discussion, next round of this discussion. But that includes our operations, our maintenance, the mid-management, the upper management, and that is requiring a significant level of effort to build the organization so it is ready to face when we are there. So my first question for this roundtable discussion, and I'll start with you, Karoline, is how the tsunami is affecting your organization, Union Sanitary District. Are you, is this kind of behind you? Are you in the middle of it? Or you are expecting this tsunami to hit the shore in next coming years?
I think we have several waves going on. In the past 5 years, we already had a retirement of about 20%. Just taking a step back, we are about a mid-sized wastewater treatment plant in Union City, 28 MGDs. And so we run pretty lean. We have 140 employees approximately at all times. And so 20% is, as all the other agencies are probably feeling it, a pretty reasonably sized number. As of today, we have that same percentage that could retire and move on to mass exodus, better things. And we're also projecting in the next 5 years, same thing, another 20%. We have this kind of similar trend. As you mentioned, about 60% of those that could retire today are in operation, right? So there's a critical need to focus on those trade jobs and the work in the fields. And also, about 25% of ours are leaders, whether they're holding coach or manager positions. So yeah, we are kind of having multiple waves, if that's an option.
How about you, Stephen? How are you seeing this at PCA?
Yeah, I totally agree with Karoline. We're seeing multiple waves. You know, I've been in workforce development for 20 years, and we were talking about this kind of wave of retirements and this kind of talent gap in the workforce that was expected. 20 years ago, it seemed like, well, is that really going to happen? It makes sense given all the baby boomers that will be leaving the workforce. And what we've seen is it hasn't hit as soon as everyone had predicted, because there have been things like the Great Recession that have kind of pushed the can down the road. But we've been seeing it. And so it happens in waves, and in the public sector, what you see is everyone kind of retiring at the same time of year. As they're kind of getting to the end of the fiscal year, you see a wave of retirements happening. This year was probably one of the bigger years that I've seen working in the water wastewater industry. COVID was an additional factor for folks. They said, you know, this is maybe a good time to just kind of hang it up. Folks that had been hanging on for a while, you know, COVID hit us pretty hard, and it didn't hit Wall Street quite as hard. So people were like cashing out, getting those retirement funds, cashing in their 30 years. You know, a lot of people joined this industry with the Clean Water Act in the 70s, and a lot of, you know, the majority of the retirement issue that we're seeing is definitely on the operations side. So it's been happening, and it's happening now, and it's going to keep happening, this silver tsunami, these series of waves of retirement.
Yeah, I like your analogy, and the fact that the Great Recession kind of pushed this tsunami further in future. A lot of people who are planning to retire, all of a sudden the 401k become 201k to a lot of people, and that, you know, added a few years into their retirement. So it didn't happen at the time when everybody was thinking. Now it's been pushed, but now it's coming in a ripple effect, as both of you mentioned. So we know that it is here, and it is hitting us, and not just hitting us once, but in serial waves, if we say. I see at Silicon Valley Clean Water, and I had a discussion with our general manager, Teresa Herrera, just to think about, you know, pick up her brain. What is she thinking about? And I know I have been aware of all the plannings and things that's going on at our agency. There's an org chart that probably frequently changes, and a lot of work by the senior management go into developing that workforce. So as it changes, we are able to quickly either promote from within or bring someone on board, you know, who's already on staff. And you know, again, it's a different philosophy at different agencies. I know at SBCW, the philosophy is that promoting someone from within, you know, boosts morale, develop that culture that people, if you are working for an organization, you have a path, you have a career path that eventually, if somebody is interested in it and has expressed interest that I am interested in the leadership position, has been given that opportunity, provides that path. So when it comes to someone retiring, there's a backup who has been working with that person for a while, and now it's time to promote it. Sometimes there's more than one candidate who could be ready for that. And in that case, you may have to pick and choose, which is a better problem to have than not having anybody to take that role. So my second question, we'll go again to you, Karoline, is what are the efforts towards workforce development that Union Center District has been doing, whether it's internal, external, or any, you know, whatever be the effort?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, as you mentioned, the succession planning or just long-term staffing is critical, right? As you're watching, especially for a lean organization, and trying to see who's ready for that next step. And so at Union Sanitary District, we have a leadership school, an internal development program to help those that are aspiring to be leaders or to be in a coach or management role. Start them ahead. It's a 2-year program. Start them ahead and get them geared up with the competencies that they would need. A component of that is actual true HR management type activities and learning to do performance reviews and all those, not just the very high level competency of decision making or what have you, but really to go into this is the ins and outs of what this position would require. And so that's one component of it. I know with our collections group, a few years back, we developed a lead mentorship program, and it's allowing some of our newer hires to come in and progress quicker into the role of leadership or lead roles in crews or what have you, by partnering our existing employees that have been around longer, right? So it's that transference of knowledge piece and connecting. So mentorship is really critical at our district too. I know right now we're currently looking at our onboarding process and how to engage new workforce coming in, but for existing, it's just continuing looking at opportunities of who's next, who's in that role, who would be a good candidate for leadership training. And just I know there's a question possibly coming up of what more we can do, but we should consider more day in the life, to your point, being able to work and develop with someone of a position that you might want to go into or advance into. So I know we have some opportunities there.
How about you, Stephen? What are the efforts at East Bay Mud been going on?
Yeah, Karoline covered the kind of internal leadership development strategies that are really critical to this, and then knowledge management strategies. So we have some of that at East Bay Mud. It's not the area that I'm most involved with, so I'll focus my answer on some of the external strategies, which is really starts with candidate development and outreach awareness. Young people just don't know about these careers. When they are thinking about what kind of job they want, you know, and what they can see themselves doing, it's things that they have experience with. You know, things that they hear about every day: healthcare field, tech field. These are, you know, police, fire, you know, things that are visible. We're when we're doing our job right, people don't hear about us. We're not in the newspaper. So we've got to do a better job of getting out there and making our industry visible in positive ways. And it can be very exciting work, right? When a pipe bursts, we need to, you know, it's an emergency response. We won't need to restore water to neighborhoods that need it. When there are potential hazards for the drinking water, we need to make sure we're addressing those. A lot of it is proactive work, but it's really engaging young people around the excitement and the potential for these jobs, both in terms of they're lucrative, they're rewarding, you're serving your community, you're giving back, you're able to stay in the Bay Area with this work. These jobs aren't going to get outsourced because the water and wastewater needs to happen here. So it's really getting our message out there. And then the second part to that is having entry-level opportunities and pathways for people so they can come in at an entry level and move and work their way up within an organization, within the industry. So that's something that we've done at East Bay Mud, is look at both of these things, raising awareness and making sure there's a pathway, a career pathway, internal career pathway. And it's not enough just to do it organization by organization. That's why Karoline and I are both part of Baywork, which is a regional collaborative of water and wastewater agencies around the Bay Area that want to collaborate. And we've been collaborating for the past 10 years around workforce development, candidate development, outreach, staff preparedness. And there's a lot more that can be done in collaboration. Instead of looking at our sister water and wastewater agencies as competitors for that talent, we've kind of turned that notion on its head so that we're collaborators, so we can enhance the talent pool that we're all working from.
Thanks, Stephen. I think you picked up a point that I wanted to bring up again and a little bit highlighted. Water industry is not as much highlighted out in the public, and that's because when you do a great job, nobody knows about it. That's kind of the unfortunate nature of the news. Is it's only reporting when something bad happens. Luckily, we have been doing a great job and not in the public. But I think what is also the downside of that is people are not knowing about these jobs. We have approximately 6,000 to 7,000 openings in the state at this time. And when we talk about filling up these positions, sometimes it's very hard to find the right candidates, just to reach out to the right people who could have the skill or potential to get to that position, but they're not able to do it because they do not know this industry. The other factor is that we could do a little better job in highlighting how great these jobs are, the benefits. Most of these jobs are very family supporting jobs. It does not require you to stay away from home and I don't want to say I respect the firefighter's job, but you are 3 days out of the house. Here, I think it's really most of the jobs are very family supporting jobs, and best of all, very good paying jobs. you can expect very good salaries and benefits. So in spite of all these great attributes of these jobs, why we have not attracted the talent or the workforce that we have been expecting. So I have a question for audience. So audience, I would like you to write in the chat box, if you were a GM, what would you do to attract the workforce into the water industry? Just type it in like, a short sentence or a few words, if you could do that. I'll give you 30 seconds to a minute, and let's see what we get. If you were GM of a water industry or water company or agency, what would you do to attract the talent into the water industry? And then we'll go to the next question for our panelists. Let's see if you're getting any responses. There you go. We're hearing a reach out and contact local high schools or college university. Very good. Work with trade schools, community college and high schools and college job fairs. Absolutely. I like responses from Eric, Carol, and Lisa. And Susan, hire people with passion and purpose that aligns with your company goals. Very good. Lisa, create videos showing day in life. Yes, absolutely. Of employee and run them in IG, Facebook, YouTube. Absolutely. Gary writes, work with building and trades unions who have folks that may be interested. Absolutely, great ideas. Availability of field trips at plants for learners, kids and adults of all ages. YouTube, brilliant. I think we just got hit with the most of these, things that we need to, focus on. And thank you all for sharing your thoughts on it. This is kind of, segue to our next question to our panelists. What are the opportunities and the ways to attract people to water industry? I think one of the attendees just said it. I was told by Alec, who is my colleague at CWA, and I Googled and later found out San Mateo High School, it advertises this, and they call it Stay in the Bay with 100K. And I'm pretty sure you guys probably already know this. But what they're promoting is you don't have to have a 4-year degree or PhD degrees to make $100,000. And these jobs are local jobs. You can get the degree and skills and be ready to hit those in the water industry and get that high-paying jobs. So again, off to you, Karoline. What are the opportunities or ways to bring and attract people in water industries? We got some great answers here, but can you?
That's what I was thinking. I think my job could be done. I mean, the panel, the responses were fabulous. There's so many ways. I wanted to add, I had the opportunity to join the Water Leadership Institute, which is a 6-month program run by WEF. And of course, Silver Tsunami was our project, and water jobs are sexy. They have a lot of stability. But right, the question is, how do we let the masses know that? And our project, I was really excited. We started with the really, really young mind. We went all the way to middle school and then a little bit into high school engagement. And really what it comes down to is education and awareness, outreach. And I think it's harder for smaller agencies because we don't have enough support in those roles. So it's looking to groups like Baywork or CWEA to get more information out there, and to whether it's participating in high school or college career fairs and things like that. But absolutely, I love the examples. Let's put videos out there showing them that there are so many jobs in the water sector too. While I'm going to be selfish and I want to get electricians and operators and hands-on mechanics in there, there's so many jobs in the water industry. You're looking at engineering, and you're looking also at manufacturers, and you look at all the upcoming technology and changes and growing infrastructure. There's going to be so much opportunity to be involved in our sector. And I think someone also made a comment about passion. And I come from for-profit education, never have what I thought to be in this industry. And what brought me to USD was just, I felt it had such more of an environmental impact. And that's important to me. That's something, you know, public health and environmental impact, that's something I'm passionate about. So that was a complete career change for me, or at least industry change. And so I think, again, just awareness and throwing that out there and showing that there's stability in what you can do here, and lots of opportunity, especially with all this mass exodus. Just awareness, getting out there, outreach as much as you can.
Thank you, Karoline. Stephen?
Yeah, all of the strategies that were mentioned in the chat by those of you out there, they're a lot of the strategies that we've been working on and testing. The reality is, as an industry, especially working for a couple of the larger water and wastewater industries in the Bay Area, or agencies in the Bay Area, there's a little bit of an arrogance that we've had that, you know, we're a public agency, you know, we're an employer that the community knows, people want to come work for us. So we've kind of lost some of that recruiting muscle, some of that savvy, and we're trying to build that up again. So I think that is a little bit of it. We've got to make it a little bit, we've got to put in the effort. We've got to put in the time and the resources. Some of our best resources for reaching out and increasing awareness are our own staff, because they love this. They love their work, and they love talking about it. All we need to do is find the right partners, find the schools, the teachers, the community colleges, the community organizations, the workforce development boards, the nonprofit organizations that have interested, young, talented, diverse talent, and present them with our staff. Let them engage with our staff through internships, through job shadows. When we include populations and talent groups that have not been included, it goes a long way. A lot of the work that Karoline and I do in candidate development and outreach for Bay Work is looking at who's missing from our workforce now. Women, minorities. You know, the water industry nationally is like 87% white. And if you look in operations, you see a lot of men. And these are jobs that women can do. And the building construction industry has done a much better job of attracting minorities and women because they've been intentional. They go and show up with tools and cool things and put things in people's hands and really talk to them and encourage them. And we've started, you know, we're not ashamed to borrow some of those, to steal some of those strategies. And so we've been doing that. So there's the opportunities there. The ideas are there. They're evident. We just need to go out and do it.
Thank you, Stephen. And I think if we do these things, which takes much less effort than you have to deal with when you have a staff shortage, all of a sudden you are hitting your, you know, senior management level or mid-level management shortage, and you have to just hire someone from outside. It takes a lot more effort to get someone into that position than building someone and providing that career path for that person to get to that position. And that you are getting a solid person who is coming from the lowest possible position as an operator, as a collection worker, and who has gone through the whole and has a much better understanding of this job than, you know, bringing someone completely cold. And that's a, you know, something that providing a career path. It's also satisfying, keeping the retention rate high, because all these people who have, you know, been promoted, they have the vested interest in that position and in this organization that, you know, I provided my 20 years and the organization has given back to me in return, that rewarded me with this promotion. So that really goes a very long way. You know, we have so many different types of jobs. I think I heard the number like more than 212 types of occupations in wastewater and water. I mean, that pretty much covers everything. You talk about operator, maintenance, mechanic, electrician, instrumentation tech. Some of these jobs don't even require any wastewater knowledge. You can have an instrumentation technician from airline industry. So that brings up to another question. There are other opportunities to get to as well. I mean, there was a time when airline industry goes down, or right now most of them are either waiting to be laid off or already been laid off. We could tap into some of those skills as well. uh, Electrician, mechanics, those skills are transferable skills that we can take it. So there's a lot of ideas, and I really appreciate everybody sharing that. So before we close, I wanted to ask our audience one last question. Can you share can you be creative here? I mean, we're looking for some buzzwords or slogans that you can share with us or come up with that we can use for attracting people's attention in water jobs. And just like one I shared from San Mateo High, which is stay in the bay with 100K. Could you take a minute or so and see if there's anything you can share? So anything that hashtag or could be used as a hashtag or slogan. Okay, I can visualize that the brains are at work and it's probably creating those slogans. So while we are waiting for those, why not go for the closing rounds and probably take a few minutes and wrap it up. So I think this was a great discussion. I really appreciate both of you, Karoline and Stephen, sharing those your thoughts about the two agencies. Karoline, can you share some of your closing thoughts? What's overall the Silver Tsunami? What's your overall perspective, and what do you how do you see going forward?
I think any agency should just consider workforce development as an ongoing opportunity to continue to look for ways to get new and talent in, because there's a lot of benefits from that as well. And just knowing that as you change these roles, the culture within your organization is going to continue to change too and improve. And definitely have a plan. Definitely look for internal development opportunities just as much. And to Stephen's point, you have to put in the effort too, right? If you build it, they will come. You have to do that outreach piece. I think it's just going to be an ongoing need moving forward.
Yeah, I'll answer from kind of a Baywork perspective, which is we're looking for partners, and from an East Bay Mud perspective, but we're looking for partners kind of across the board as an industry, as individual agencies. There's 70 plus water, wastewater agencies around the Bay Area. 39 of us are already collaborating. And for the first 7 or 8 years of Baywork's existence, we spent a lot of time talking to each other and figuring out how can we work together. And then the last few years, we've really been talking about who else should we be talking to? Community colleges, school districts, workforce boards, other public infrastructure agencies. So we're expanding this strategy around workforce development and addressing kind of work career pathways, outreach broadly. So if you're interested in any of these things, reach out to your local water agency, reach out to Baywork. We're looking for great partners.
Thank you, Stephen and Karoline. This has been a really great discussion, and I really want to appreciate and thank all the attendees who participated in the discussion. Once again, thanks everyone. Have a nice Friday afternoon, and I'll turn this over back to Dennis.
Thanks, Arvind. Thank you, Dennis.